Tigress Daisy is one of our special needs cats that really needs a lot of individualized care. And doing so, what we've done is schedule her for a vet exam. And Daisy has a lot of issues that she came with. She came from a facility that she had untreated issues. So when she came to us, we did have to figure out what was going on. And one of the things that was happening with Daisy is that she had spinal meningitis. So that's something that we like to make sure that we're keeping track of, and that her medications and supplements and all of her individualized care that we're providing for her is that it's working for her. Some of the things that we do when we go up is we'll load everything into the UTV, make sure it's kind of in a staged manner and that everybody knows where it is. And then we head down out to the large cat area, or the cat that we're going to be sedating. We close our gates to make sure that all of our perimeters are shut, and then our secondary gates are shut. For a vet day with a big cat such as Daisy, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. Vet days can be kind of stressful. We are sedating an apex predator, and these guys are big. Daisy is our smallest tiger. She's about 275 pounds to 300 pounds, where our biggest boys, Caesar and Logan, are 480 pounds. So you can tell the difference, and it can be quite nerve-wracking when we're going to go in and sedate these guys, because we want to follow all the safety protocols that we possibly can and keep everyone safe. Then once the cat is sedated, we always check, and we usually check for palpebrals or any kind of ear flick, anything that can indicate that the cat isn't fully down. And if we do see any of those, we'll step back, allow a little bit more time to go, because obviously during the sedation, adrenaline is still there, even though we left and we're mitigating it, and they might have finally calmed down and gone down. Once it's safe, we open the room and we make sure that we have a secondary area that is a safe zone, is what we call it. If we're sedating for a move of a big cat, we usually go in. We use something like a net or a tarp that'll make it easier for us to lift the tiger, such as Daisy, and move her into the crate as swiftly and smoothly as possible, because they're big and we need a number of people, and the easiest way is usually if we have something with handles. So once they're in the crate and they're secured, we lock it, chain it, and then we radio that we're going to be leaving the building, so that once again all staff on site are aware of what's about to happen, so that nobody is in the dark, and that we can make sure all of our gates are still closed and locked and everyone is prepared. Then when we take them out, bring them up to usually our UTV, which we strap them to via ratchet straps, and we also use chains. And then we'll drive them over to the new location. Once we get them to the new location, we roll them into the building, make sure that the doors again are secured, radio where we have arrived, and that we're in the building and secured, and then move them down to their new room. And sometimes when it's a move that's also put in with an exam, it can be easier to move them first. So like Daisy, we brought her actually all the way to her new space, brought her there, brought her in her room, and then we proceeded with the exam so that we could do it there, so that we had the maximum amount of time to move the animal from one spot to the other, so that they aren't getting light at the tail end of the exam happening in the place that they were prior.
Oh no, you're no. If you guys can pull her this way, one person out her legs, one person here. Yep. And then I will pull this in. Let it come down a little. I'm not gonna come if I get one. All right. Just buys you time. You wanted to set that across there at least over there? Yeah.
One of the things that we have on site that we can use for our cats to check on them, such as with Daisy, is our portable x-ray machine. And when we take the x-ray machine down with us and our plates, which are awesome because they don't use the older version where you used to have to put them through a film and develop them. These ones are actually reusable that we can take with us. And so for Daisy, we entered the room and we set it up. We put down the plates below the area that we want to see. Another thing that we did for Daisy was the implant, which I mentioned earlier. Once the implant is inserted, we'll note the date that we put it in. Most implants have a lifespan of about 1.5 years. So the bigger part about getting Daisy her implant was that she would stop the heat cycles.
Let's go back legs. Back leg.
Once we finish with Daisy's exam, then everyone exits the room, except for the last person, which is usually for the restraint or watching for any indication that she's getting light. And Daisy did really well under her sedation. She was down the whole time. Then we're going to administer the reversals, which will counteract what the sedation was so that she can have a smoother wake up. And we give those after everyone has exited. All equipment is removed, and we check that everything was looked for, that she got her fluids, her vitamins, obviously the implant. Once we've put everything into the room that Daisy needs and that she's ready to wake up and the reversals are administered, we all exit the room. The room is then closed, locked, and secured and double checked. The vet and another staff member will stay with the cats, such as Daisy, to make sure that they're waking up appropriately and that they may not need another added reversal if they're not waking up and they're really feeling and holding on to their drugs and sleeping soundly. Once they start to wake up, then we'll usually let them have their space but to themselves for a little bit so that they're not there with a lot of noise or a lot of lighting. And then we'll check on them and monitor them, such as with Daisy. And then when she's ready to go out to her yard and she's awake and ready, that's when we'll make the radio call that Daisy is ready to go out.